So let's just go ahead and begin. Introductions first. My name is Abhishek, and that's it. That's the intro. Don't really talk a whole lot about, oh, my story is this, my background is this, whatever. I'm a Symbi alum from SEMHRD MBA 2012-14 batch. That's all there is to it. Having been through one separate aspect of the Symbi entrance process, which is the post-graduation part, I have some idea about what they are expecting in terms of PG. And broadly, the same metrics are used to evaluate your VATs and all of those things. So let's go ahead and jump right onto what is a VAT. Now, the VAT stands for Written Assessment Test. Some colleges call it the Written Ability Test. They call it probably the recent Written Assessment Schedule or whatever. It depends really. That's really not the point. Written Ability Test or Written Assessment Test for you will be most likely a typing test, since there is little chance that you might be invited straight to the campus for the interview process, etc. And when is the written assessment test or written ability test conducted is after you are shortlisted. So if you are aware of how the selection procedure of SLS or SCMS, all campuses, how it works is you have a written test, which is your what written test are you guys taking? Exam, the core exam, SET or SLAT, as the case may be, right? Post which all the scores will be tabulated and there will be some sort of cutoff, right? Beyond which you will be called for the next stage of the admission process, which includes a personal interview and a written assessment test or a written ability test. Okay, so on the day of the exam, there is just the exam. That's it, right? Online, offline, whatever it is, most likely online. But that is all you have to worry about on the day of the exam. Post which there will be a VAT if you clear their initial shortlisting criteria. Okay, initial cutoff of the exam. Now, I'm not here to discuss what is the SET cutoff, what is the SLAT cutoff, etc. That is a story for a different day when we talk about cracking SET separately and cracking SLAT separately. What should you aim for, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Since I already have a lot of questions, I'm just going to repeat myself one last time. Please make sure to not post any questions right now in the chat box. There's a lot of chaos. I have a participant window. I have this, that, and all. So don't post any questions on the chat box. All right. If you do have any questions, post all of them in the Q&A tab and I'll answer them sequentially. All right. At the end of the session. From time to time, in the rare case that I feel we need to check whether we are all on track, I'll ask you. If yes, then yes, no, then no, whatever it is. But please make sure to post all of your questions only in the Q&A tab. I will not be able to take care of multiple questions that more or less ask us the same thing in the chat box. Okay, post all of your questions in the Q&A tab and all of them will be answered at the end of the session. Let me just take care of first what is the theory about blah, blah, how to tackle this, that, typical issues that you might have, FAQs, etc. And if in spite of all that any question isn't answered, you can post them happily, no problem. But let me finish, give me some time, all right? I need to just get done with the session first, because as it is, we've just got enough, all right? Let me get done. If at the end there are still some questions unanswered, shoot in the Q&A tab. Deal? 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 Fine. Now, coming back to the topic, we were talking about the process when it comes to SET and SLAT specifically. If there is any other random college that decides that they want to take a VAT, etc., fine, the principles remain the same. In SET, it is asked in a different way. In some colleges, it might be asked in a different way, blah, blah, blah. I'll take care of all the patterns that typically turn up in your exams, okay? Or rather in your selection process. Give me some time. Now, the written ability test or the written assessment test is something that you will not have as a part of your exam, right? In most cases, you will have as your next stage, right? Post your clearing of the cut. After which you will be called, let's say, by the college to the campus, or you will be given a link where you have to submit your VAT, blah, 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 something like that, right? You will be given a topic, you will have to write on it, and you will have some time limit given for the VAT. Now let's understand first what is tested in a VAT. If you don't know what is tested, then you don't know what you need to write or type, whatever. The 3C approach is what I use to take care of the VAT. The first thing is something called coherence. The second thing is content, and the third is communication. In short, the how, all right, the what, and then again a how. All right, the how, the what, again a how, but those two hows answer to different things. So what I mean by coherence is, does your VAT follow some semblance of a structure rather than just a hodgepodge of ideas that randomly you're just squeezing into the VAT one by one? Also, and then you write, oh, also, and then you add one more, also, and then you add one more. And sometimes you end up concluding, okay, hence proved. And then, oh, wait, another point, also. That happens, right? So make sure that when you decide that, okay, this is the point at which I want to close my VAT, don't add stuff at the end. That'll just look chaotic. So what I mean by coherence is structure. Does it have a good introduction? Does it have a good middle? And does it have a good conclusion? Now, what do you mean by introduction? What do you mean by middle? What do you mean by conclusion? I will tell you all of that in the next 10 minutes. Coherence is the concept. What? I am not on mute, unlikely, because everyone can hear me and they are answering yes and no. So that's highly unlikely that I am on mute. So where were we? Right. Coming to coherence. Coherence, I guess, as a concept is clear. Structurally, does the VAT flow properly? What I mean by content is, okay, fine, the structure is fine, but then what you've written is utter garbage. That presents a problem. You're making some random assumptions, some illogical points, etc. So the how is fine, but the what is utter garbage. So how do I decide? The content is the next thing. Are you making sense? Are you writing proper substantial reasons perhaps for your stand? Things like that. That is the content part. And finally, the communication part. What I mean by communication is punctuation, grammar, capitalization of letters. Are you following the subject verb agreement rules, etc.? Spelling check, etc. All of those things become part of your communication part. All right. So broadly, that is called your 3C approach. Right. Now, let's deep dive into how you will receive the VAT, and then I'll tackle each of these questions one by one. What do you mean by receive the VAT? Assuming you're going to the campus, you will get a sheet of paper, right, with the topic on top of the page and maybe some SET ID or SLAT ID or something that you have to mention, or maybe your name or something like that. And you will have a ruled sheet. That is one way. Alternatively, if they decide to give it to you from home or the convenience of, let's say, some lab or something like that, or some other test center, then it will be a screen just like you see for your mock SETs, mock SLATs, etc. There will be a topic and there will be this big text box where you have to type. Either way, practice. If it is truly written in the literal sense, then a lot of us don't really still have the practice of writing for a long time. right? Which is why I would urge all of you to look at the sample VATs that I will share at the end and at least start practicing the concept of writing. There's this wonderful device called as a pen. Okay, you have to hold it between two fingers, use the others for grip, and then magically, right? So this is something that we have forgotten in probably the last 1 or 2 years. I don't know how many people write. So make sure that that is going to get practiced, because you can't develop speed overnight. If I tell you that, okay, boss, this is your topic XYZ, and after that I tell you, okay, boss, you've got 20 minutes, go write. Or if I say you've got 30 minutes, go write. And you've got loads to say, but 2 paragraphs and ouch, right? That creates an issue. So make sure that practice is being done no matter what. All right. Typing wise or written wise, whatever the case may be, whatever they decide to tell you, okay, was this is the method we are going online, fine. Practice typing, which brings us to something very clearly in communication. You are getting my point. You are the letters, you are, okay, or something like LOL. SMS language, get rid of it. Practice writing in clear sentences. I know it's a mystery to us, right? How to write clear sentences. What is a clear sentence? What's a complete sentence? Have I ever written a sentence without using SMS language? If you haven't, bad luck. Start writing. Okay. So something that we have lost along the way, be it typing or writing or whatever, is the art of writing full sentences. Nowadays, I call it art because it is so much in shortage. Fingers crossed, that's all I can hope. Anyway, so practice, right? Broadly, when you get a sense of the topics that we will give you as a dummy VAT practice, etc., you'll have some idea of, oh, okay, these sorts of topics come, fine. So let me seek out other topics apart from the 5-10 that I have shared, so that I can just, get a hang of typing or writing or whatever it is. Okay, so practice. Now, coherence. Time management is a question I will address at the very end. How to manage your time given half an hour or given 20 minutes, whatever, that I will answer at the end. Don't worry. When I talk about coherence, I want you to follow a structure. Now, to understand this slide in terms of structure, I need to understand how do I get these VATs, right? But even before that, are there certain common instructions that hold true no matter what? Yes, of course. First things first, assuming it's a written, proper handwritten VAT, they call you and they give you a sheet of paper, make sure to stick to the number of sides that are ruled. If they give you only one side as a ruled sheet, stick to that side. Turn and check, are both sides or a ruled page? Then great. If yes, fantastic, you can use both sides. But otherwise, assume that the only length that you have or the space that you have is the side that is ruled. Number one. Number two, sir, but what if I write PTO? If only one side is ruled, I will not bother turning the page. So make sure that you finish your VAT within the ruled sides. Right? Make sure to do that. But what if it is online? It's just one big text box. Can I keep typing? Again, the answer is no. While I want your VAT to cover a good number of points, A, for time reasons, or B, otherwise you don't have the time to keep going on and on, write an essay of 1,000 words. Absolutely not possible. So stick to a good 350, 400, or at max 450 words. That should be more than enough, in my opinion, to take care of good number of points with their reasons and explanations or data, etc. So make sure that you understand that we need to keep our length fairly well. So length, how do I keep? What is 350 words? What is 450 words? Pick up some essays where at the bottom number of words are written, or you pick up an article, paste it in your MS Word. It'll give you the word count. So if you say, okay, boss, it is this long, and this word MS Word is saying this is 468 words. Okay, boss, then yeah, I think I should write this much. Then why don't you write one VAT broadly of that length and check the word count? You can do that, right? Use that technology to your advantage. That's where the practice comes in handy, to get a fair idea of, okay, boss, it has to be this long, this long, this long, whatever it is, right? So make sure to use MS Word. So that is the length part. Now, there was a time when VATs were proper handwritten written assessment tests. So at that point, we needed to also check our handwriting. Now, I never scored well, right? +1 mark for handwriting. I got a -1. It was that bad. Forget 0. They gave me a -1, boss. This is really bad. So I used to suffer a lot in VAT, and I used to write, just so that it was legible. But legibility is all that is required. You've seen that meme, right? Someone has the most beautiful handwriting in the world. I can barely write with good enough handwriting to understand that, okay, boss, there is a drunk set of ants walking on the page. That bad. So doctors look at my handwriting and say, okay, wow, dude, seriously, bro, mine is not that bad, right? So handwriting, while it need not be exceptionally beautiful and all that, cursive or broken or whatever, that doesn't matter, but it has to be at least legible. Should be able to distinguish your letters. So if it comes to handwritten VAT, make sure to practice writing so that at least it's legible. Doesn't have to be beautiful or the prettiest handwriting in the whole wide world. You don't have to write with calligraphy pens and all that, but at least make sure it's legible. Which brings us to another mistake that I made during my VATs: mismanagement of size. Now, I had been criticized some time ago for my handwriting, right? So I said that, okay, boss, I write too small letters, so I'll increase the size a little bit. So consciously, I said, okay, boss, you have to write in big handwriting, or else they will not be able to read it. Started with big. So my topic was this was in a different exam. This wasn't in a VAT, but essay writing was part of the exam. What was the topic? Yes, Earth can satisfy every man's need, but not every man's greed. This was the topic. I'm sure you have a lot of ideas already. I'll just repeat the topic. Earth can satisfy every man's need, but not every man's greed. I had made up my mind. Okay, boss, this is an amazing topic. I can already think of 5 things I'm going to really do well. My language was good. My handwriting was horrible. So from here to here, it comes fine. But from here to here, somewhere there is a disconnect. So I said, okay, boss, big font, big font, big font. Started writing the earth, like big flowing strokes of the pen and all that. Started writing big. Oh shoot. Quarter of the page. I've just finished my intro. Now what? I've got at least 4 points. I have to write all of them. I said, okay, look, write a little less gyan and more of data. Okay. Shrunk it a little bit. Okay. 1/3, 2/3. I'm still 2 points down. Final 1/3. I started writing even smaller, which of course default mode. And then by the end, it was Morse code. Couldn't help it. Did not manage my uniformity. So it felt like if you see the page from afar, it would have felt like someone was reading a funnel. Starts big and then trickle, and then Morse code. It was that bad. I'm not proud of it, but I am using my example to tell you the mistakes to avoid, right? I am the perfect role model of how not to write your if it comes to a handwritten one. I don't mind sharing my experiences simply because at least I can help others learn from my mistakes, right? So make sure that you're working on your handwriting so that it's at least fairly uniform and you're sticking to that rule sheet, right? Time management, I will talk about at the end. I'm trying to now combine this communication part with the coherence part by talking about making sure, making sure that your language, something I talked about earlier, is not filled with SMS lingo. Nope. Why don't you start practicing this by while chatting with your friends, etc.? Why don't you practice writing full sentences? You sound refined. You sound like a Brit, refined, gentlemanly, or ladylike, or whatever it is. Point is, let's start. There's no harm in writing full sentences. It probably takes 2 seconds longer, right? No words like yeah or yeah or ma life, ma rules with a Z. Avoid, right? Make sure, I cannot stress this enough. I know I've said this about 3-4 times since the session started, but make sure that your language is on point, meaning in terms of full sentences, no SMS link. It pains me to see this. A lot of people ask me, should my language have this flowery language and like, oh, Shashi Tharoor's descendant has written this VAT. Oh my God. Doesn't have to be. There is no extra mark for your flowery language. Okay. Meaning that your words should convey in as few words as possible whatever it is you're trying to convey. No more, no less. There's a word for this called laconic, meaning using as few words as possible to convey what you want to say. For example, John Wick is whom we call laconic, right? So I think he goes to some shop and lots of guns. If you remember, I don't know, he doesn't go to some shop. John Wick, part 3. What do you want, Mr. Wick? Guns, lots of guns. So that was pretty clear, right? That what he wanted. Potter, when Severus Snape says Potter, oh boss, okay, this is clear that I have messed up, right? So use as few words as possible to convey what you want to convey, meaning don't use extra words, don't be redundant. Saying things like, because of the reason that I woke up late, I joined this session late because of the reason that I woke up late. Why? Because of the reason that I joined the session late since I woke up late. Why not? It's the same thing. Intention wise, is there any difference? No, but you're saving space. You're saving words, right? So make sure you use robust language, simple language, easy to understand, and remind yourself that if using fancy words comes naturally to you, do it. There is no extra effort that I want you to take, number one. And the lack of fancy or heavy words does not indicate that you will be scored poorly or that the one who is using fancy heavy words by default gets an advantage. All right? With me so far, everyone? Now, the cheesy way to say this would be, let the words flow from your heart, but that's not really true. Let the words flow from your brain, which brings us to content. Whenever you're trying to justify something, etc., you need to make sure that your points have sense, meaning they should be rational, they should have data points if possible, and they should have perhaps examples if possible or instances if possible. Broadly, they should have sound logic. Now, what do I mean by sound logic? Let's say I pick up some random kid in the batch. So if I say that Kavya is not the tallest girl in this batch, what does that mean? Kavya is not the tallest student in this batch, girl in this batch. It's somewhat tempting to infer that she is the shortest student in the batch. Somewhat. Sometimes some people assume that she is short or she is the shortest in the batch, something like that. But how is that valid? Meaning, the lack of something does not mean that you have to go to the extreme other end, right? Meaning that just because I say that she's not the tallest, can she not be the second tallest? Which means by definition, she's still tall generally? Can be. So why say that she's short or she is the shortest girl in the batch? Seems a bit too extreme. So make sure to not make any random inferences that do not suggest what you're trying to say. Be careful of those. Use data points as much as possible. If you can quote some sort of study or a news report or an article, etc., that would be fantastic. But make sure to write the source. Don't write sometime in early 2021 there was an article published in a leading news daily, early 2021. How vague. Say something like late January 2020. Okay, at least there is some clarity, right? There was an article published in the Times of India. Okay, fine. There is some source. Leading news daily can mean, right. You'll have to excuse me for that slight disruption. We just lost electricity, and that would mean that I'm taking the rest of the session in total darkness. Sorry about that, but I hope at least I'm audible to everyone. If there is any issue in terms of the audio, please let me know in a second. Right. Okay. If electricity resumes, I'll ensure that the video is on. But so far, I guess it seems we are doing this without video. So coming back to what we were talking about, we were talking about sources, right? So make sure that when you are mentioning sources, you are as specific as possible. It need not be that you have to mention January 23rd, 2021 Times of India, page number 7, right? That's okay if you're not that specific. But like I said, don't be too vague by saying in a leading news daily and early 2000 or in sometime in early 2021, something like that. Be as specific as possible, right? When it comes to figures also, be as close to the original number as possible. A little bit of rounding up is fine. So say, for example, your data point is something like a 6.7 billion. All right. It's okay to write somewhere around 7 billion. That's fair, but don't then round it up too much by saying around 10 billion. That's just, so make sure that up to the excessively rounding up. All right. This is your data part. Also, you need to understand when you are quoting examples, they shouldn't be one-off cases. Say, for example, if you're talking about people who have dropped out of college and still founded successful companies, let's say there's only one person in the entire world who has done that. You can't just mention that one person and say that, okay, this is how the entire world works. Okay. Yes, my voice is breaking because I'm on 4G internet. I'm trying my best to ensure that at least the voice is not affected, but I'm not able to make any promises correctly. So this is the next part. So when you're using examples, make sure they're fairly well known, not too obscure, and they're not one of a kind examples. Unless, of course, you want to mention an exception. Don't use one-off cases or one-off examples. All right. Now, this becomes your gyan for how to tackle a VAT, right? In terms of language, in terms of data, in terms of how to write and rules of grammar, etc. Those things you already know. So let's come to what sorts of topics come up in your VAT. Now, forget the last part, something called AWT, forget that part. You will have typically the above five. Something called opinion driven, which is simply put an agree or disagree or for or against a topic. Something like a choice driven, which is finite or infinite, which I will explain in a minute. An analytical VAT, an abstract VAT, and specific to SET and SLAT, a pictorial VAT. In your SET SLAT, they ask a pictorial VAT. The time of opinion driven, choice driven, etc. has gone. In SET SLAT, they stick to a pictorial VAT. Now, what's a pictorial VAT? I will give you some gyan in a little bit when we come to it. Now, when it comes to an opinion driven VAT, you will have an opinion or some sort of issue or an argument that is made, whatever, with which you have to agree or disagree. Is the voice still a problem? Sorry to interrupt. Is the voice still a problem? Okay, great. Thank you, Vince. So, coming to opinion-driven VATs, when it comes to agree or disagree with a particular topic, make sure to take a clear stand. Don't give me 3 reasons for yes, 3 reasons for no, or 3 reasons for agree, and 3 reasons for disagree, and then say, I don't know, it could be this, could be that. Don't be what is called as a fence sitter. Make sure to not be a fence sitter and have a clear-cut opinion, which means what, when it comes to time management, take the first couple of minutes after reading the topic to decide on an opinion once and for all. Make some notes in some rough page or something if you have that space, or you can make your own notes, maybe let's say in your mind, take 3 points, take 4 points, whatever, and make sure to pick one side and stick to it. Now, this need not have, I'll repeat, this need not have the popular opinion. It could have the popular opinion. It need not have the popular opinion. That doesn't matter. Don't by force take the unpopular opinion just to make sure that you have a unique VAT. Okay, I'll repeat. If I have a topic like this, has the current government done enough to solve the nation's economic crises? Now, when we use something like this as an opinion-driven VAT, has the current government done enough? Yes, because blah blah blah. No, they haven't done enough because blah blah blah. Simple. Now, I think most people will write yes, so I should write no. Or I think most people will write no, so I should write yes. Nothing of that sort. Simple terms, pick the side that you can justify. You may not even have to agree with it, boss. I agree that they have done enough, but I don't have enough pointers or justification or data. But I have enough points for no. So what do? Even if your opinion is in contrast to what you can justify, always pick the other one, whatever you can justify. With me so far, in case of an opinion-driven VAT? So there is no double-edged sword. To be very honest, there is no double-edged sword. There is no right or wrong. You are not going to be judged based on whether the evaluator agrees with your opinion or not. So say, for example, you guys are writing the VAT. Has the current government done enough to solve the nation's economic crises? And then you are writing, yes, they have done enough. And I am your evaluator. And I feel, no, the current government hasn't done enough. Just because you write yes, I feel no, will I be able to give you fewer marks or say that no, this is disqualified? No, I don't do that. Getting it? So do not be afraid of what you think the rater or evaluator might think. You write the stand that, or pick the stand rather, that you can justify. Are we clear what to do regarding an opinion driven VAT? Right? Again, just a reminder, do not be a fence sitter. Do not write both sides and say, I don't know, let's see. We need more time to evaluate. Don't write stuff like that. Okay. Coming to the choice driven VAT. A choice-driven VAT is, as the topics and the examples suggest, something that you have to pick. So you might be given two players, right? Sachin and Kohli, who is the better batsman, which is called a finite choice. A finite choice, as the name suggests, gives you the choices A, B, C, D, whatever, and says go pick one, right? Same logic applies. There you cannot be a fence hitter. No, there are some parts of Sachin that are good. There are some parts of Kohli. There are some parts of Sehwag and some parts of Ganguly. You can't do that again. Pick one and stick to it because A, B, C, D, these are my reasons. Simple. So that is called a finite choice based VAT. Or if it is an infinite choice, you'll have all the batsmen in the world and say, go pick one. Infinite choice. I think pretty straightforward in terms of the concept, right? In either case, just like an opinion driven VAT, make sure to pick someone. Don't give me utopian gyan like the ideal batsman has the straight drive of Kohli, the aggression of Sehwag, the class of Ganguly, the this of this, the that of that. My gosh, I don't need that. Clear? This is your choice driven VAT. Now, if I say evaluate the second term of the Modi government, if your topic is evaluate the second term of the Modi government or evaluate Modi 2.0, is it necessary that you have to pick a side and say, no, it's amazingly great or well managed? Or alternatively, no, this is hopeless, the second term. If I just say evaluate, can you necessarily pick a side? What if you just want to give some data without really saying good or bad? That becomes what is called as an analytical VAT, where you have to give three perspectives or more as to what is the branching out, meaning that how are you going to address the issue. So if I say look at the topic given to you, evaluate IMS as an organization or write about IMS as an organization. So what will you write? We have X number of employees. Now, is that good? Is that bad? Can you really have an opinion just because I have X number of employees? Can you have an opinion just because I say that I have 300 or 500 employees? Not I have, we have. I know and I understand, guys. I'm really sorry the audio is lagging, but with 4G, this is the best I can do. I understand, I am aware, I am also sorry, but this is the best I can do. I've tried to, I don't have an inverter at home, so this is the best I can do. I'm terrible. If I ask you to write about IMS as an organization, and one of your points is IMS has, let's say, 500 plus employees, is there anything necessarily good or bad about it? Is there something necessarily good or bad about it? If I say IMS has 500 employees, is that good news? Is that bad news? Is it okay news? Nothing. So there is no opinion if I just give you a data point, right? Let's say that IMS has made so and so crores of profit. Or let's say that this is the HR policy at IMS regarding leaves, for example. X is the rule, Y is the rule, Z is the rule. So you're just stating various sides of the topic. Now, it may not have any opinion attached to it. That is what makes it an analytical. But if I say is the best coaching institute in the country, now can you have an opinion on it? Will you have an opinion on it? Yes, here it's easy to pick. Yes, because blah, 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 right? Yes, because blah blah blah. So you have reasons for it. But if I just write, say for example, let us analyze IMS as an organization. You'll just write, give me 20 aspects about IMS with not necessarily every point of it having an opinion, is why it is called an analytical VAT. Is not something that needs to be provided an opinion for. It is just a perspective. Clear? Which is why if I ask you, analyze Modi 2.0. Now there are so many things you can write in Modi 2.0. He did this, he did that, this government did this did that, this, that, some good, some bad, blah, blah, blah. So many things you can write. Then it becomes chaotic in your brain. What to do, what to do. Which is why we have the steeples approach. Some people call it the pastel approach, but it's just an extension of that. Look at the steeples approach, social, technological, sport. Now, here, it may not be that every analytical topic has all these perspectives. Everything need not have a sport angle and entertainment angle, etc. But at least it gives you some sort of framework. I write down steeples and write down 2-3 points from each topic, or rather from each heading. Is the logic clear? Mitro, is the logic clear? So this is an approach that I use to organize my thoughts, nothing else. Because I've got so many thoughts about, oh, Modi government 2.0, wait, I want to write this, wait, I want to write this, wait, I want to write this. So because I've got so many ideas in my mind, I decide to plot them out in some sort of block. Okay, I'll write one block social, one block technology, so that it's just organized and in nice neat little boxes. Okay, now abstract, as the name suggests, does not really have any clear direction or any clear cut answer, but a different way of looking at things. Now, if you look at this question, the example given to us, when asked, Frank Lloyd Wright replied, or rather, when fine, I'll read the whole topic. When asked what he considered to be his greatest work, the famous architect Frank Lloyd Wright responded with, my next one. Now, what am I supposed to do with this? Yes, I agree. Is this an opinion? Yes, I agree with Frank Lloyd Wright. No, I disagree, because it's not the statement that you have to agree or disagree with. It is what the statement represents. But you might think that this statement represents X, Y, Z. I might think that this statement represents P, Q, and R. Does that necessarily mean that either one is right or wrong? No. Just make sure to write your reasons for why you think it means X, Y, Z. Now, I'll give you an example of a topic that I play around with in sessions for abstract. This is your topic. Can you see the chat box? This is your topic. That's it. No further explanation will be provided. At the top of the slide, or sorry, not top of the slide, top of the page or top of your window, you will have your topic. That's it. Can you see it? Your topic is K. That's it. Finished. No further explanation. Go right. What? Go right? Now, please, for heaven's sake, what I don't want you to do, I'll repeat, what I don't want you to do is give me words with K. K for kettle, K for kaleidoscope, K for knowledge. I don't want that. Don't give me words with K. Are we clear? Give me what is the representation or the internal meaning of K, or what I want to say is perspectives. What does K represent is what I want. For example, I'll give you a random thought. K represents silence. You might think I've probably drunk some very strong tea with different herbs apart from tea leaves. But hear me out. What the heck does K mean when it comes to silence? K represents silence. Everything that you feel need not be said. For example, look at the word night. Look at the word night. Getting it? So what I'm trying to do is, through these examples, I'm trying to make a point. You have to write the point, then the examples. Getting it? No? Okay. K is silence. Why? Because look at a word called knife. K is silent in knife. K is silent in knowledge. K is silent in night. Correct? So that is what K represents, or it means when I say that K represents silence. Clear? Again, is this the only perspective? No, of course, you are probably thinking of 4 or 5. My point is, don't give me words. K for this, K for that, K for kitten, K for kettle. This is what I don't want. I don't want a list of words with K. Are you clear? I want, through certain things, what K represents. I'll give you another example. Relax. Don't give me ideas. I'll just give you another example. K represents laziness of today's generation who write K even if all they have to add is a letter O before it. They are so lazy that they don't even want to write O and write OK. They just want to write K. What is this? What is this? All lazy people. What is this? What is this? So through this incident of people replying with K, what am I trying to say? That people have become lazy. Tell me people have become lazy through K, not by saying K. Getting it? K also might represent indifference, or the fact that I don't want to answer or I want to ignore you is when I reply with a K. I have no idea if you guys get my point, but I'm sort of hoping you are. Right? What else? What else? What else? K represents attachment. Yes, yes, yes. Very interesting. K represents attachment. What? What is this K and attachment? There is no K in the word attachment. No. That's not what I mean. What I mean by K represents attachment is कभी खुशी कभी गम, कुछ कुछ होता है, कभी अलविदा ना कहना. Attachment to that letter considered lucky by a certain director and of course a certain TV show producer. Is my point clear? Again, is there any reason why if you say, sir, K also means constant? Great, right? We use it in maths as a constant. That's one short paragraph of 2-3 lines. Is it wrong? No, it's not wrong, as long as you can justify it. Is mine better? No, it's not better if you have something better. There's no right or wrong. There is no better or worse. Right? So, Srishti, what I'm trying to do is, why don't we, again, so don't give me K represents potassium. Tell me that K is indirect. Eh? What do you mean by K is indirect? No. What I mean is K is indirect because K happens to be the chemical symbol for potassium. Comes from the Latin element, it is based on kalium. Don't know why I know this, but I don't know why I know. Really, I don't. Srishti, clear? Don't tell me K represents potassium. Tell me the concept of the theme and then use potassium as an example to justify that theme. So this is what I want us to do. I want us to try and pick those themes and then use these examples. Right? Now, probably you can make sense of how to write a choice-driven VAT in terms of a structure and how to write an opinion-driven VAT. Now, look at the first paragraph outline. Restate the topic without making it obvious. Now, what does this mean? Ooh, wait, electricity has resumed. Let me try testing my internet and switch back to Wi-Fi. You could just be a bit patient for the next 1 odd minute. Yes. Voice lag reduced. Long live Wi-Fi. Right. Coming to the format of an opinion-driven VAT or a choice-driven VAT. So let's pick that best batsman question, right? Who is the best batsman in the world? That's your VAT topic. Okay. Nothing that will come to you in the actual exam, right? Because they are not going to be so specific. But let's say this is some random topic. Who is the best batsman in the world? Okay. Point one, para one, meaning your intro, says what? Restate the topic without making it obvious. Means what? Don't rewrite the topic, copy paste. Today we have been asked who is our favorite batsman. Don't do that. Getting me? Today we have been asked who is our favorite batsman is not what you're supposed to do. Clear? Everyone? Perfect. So when I say restate the topic without making it obvious, fine, okay, sir, you're saying don't rewrite the topic as a copy paste. Then how the heck am I supposed to introduce this topic? Okay. Cricket has now transitioned to a batsman's game because of several new rules that are in favor of batsmen, which has given rise to a lot of world-class batsmen. And I believe is the best batsman in the world. And my reasons are as under, or and my reasons are as follows, or I believe is the best batsman in the world because. Clear? What I mean by an introduction? So what do I mean by restate the topic without making it obvious is A, either give some background information about how we have come to this point, if it is some sort of current affairs topic, or put the topic, if it is abstract or an opinion driven VAT, in a current perspective. Has the current government handled the pandemic well? We have been asked whether the current government has handled the pandemic well, and I believe they because don't do that. COVID-19 has hit even the best of nations, with so many countries or so-called developed countries also facing huge losses in terms of life and in terms of damage to the economy. And as such, in a developing country like India, it has affected a whole lot due to our numbers. And I believe that, clear? That's what I mean by not copy pasting the topic, but trying to put some sort of current spin on it where possible. Now, this might not be possible for an abstract VAT, which I will tell you in the next slide. You're free to take a screenshot of this at this point if you wish to. But this is what I mean by not restating the topic and making it obvious. You might want to bring in some, current logic as to why are we even having this discussion? Oh, right, because perhaps elections are coming up, or perhaps because we have been facing it firsthand and we are seeing the second wave that has hit a lot of close people, members, friends of friends, etc. Right? So we write it like that and then introduce the topic, or rather then go to your opinions, whatever. Right? Now that is your first para. Now instead of and my reasons are as under, sir, can I write as follows? Can I write I believe because? Yes. Last point. Any combination of these keywords is okay as long as it makes sense. As long as my intent is in there. Firstly, I want to talk about blah, blah, blah. And then give a keyword followed by the explanation. Is that clear? So going back to best batsman. Cricket has become a batsman's game, and I believe Kane Williamson is the best batsman out there because, firstly, he is a multitasker. That's called reason one. Full stop. Then you justify. Kane Williamson is the captain of the New Zealand cricket team and he's one of their best batsmen. So he's able to manage both responsibilities and still chase down targets. That is called explanation. Clear? Secondly, his technique. Full stop. Kane Williamson has been known to bat in this way and this is his technique. He's a pure hitter of the ball. He never leaves balls that can be hit for That is explanation of reason two. Clear what I mean by reason plus explanation? Mitro, I need a yes, no, something so that I know that at least my internet connection is not failing me. Right? So this becomes reason, which is in essence a keyword followed by the justification of that keyword or data or explanation or whatever. And that is why, because of the fact that he's a multitasker, has great technique, this, and this, I believe Kane Williamson is last paragraph. Clear? Because of this becomes summary, and I believe Kane Williamson. Clear? Minimum 3 reasons. Chunky explanations if you have for each reason, meaning good 3-4 lines, then 3 are enough. But if you have smaller explanations, then 2, totally 6 small reasons, 5 or 6. Okay, 3 good reasons with good justification, or 2 in each paragraph, that's fine. Instead of firstly and secondly, you can use primarily and then moreover, also, finally, whatever. Like I said, the exact the exact keyword is not my objective. There is some set of keywords that shows that transition properly. So clear what I mean by summary? So because of the fact that he's a multitasker, has great technique and this, I believe, da da da, becomes your summary. Cool. This is your opinion or choice VAT. Moving on quickly to the, where is it? To the abstract VAT. Read the format for a second. Read the format for a second. Should be pretty obvious. Going to K, the topic K that I gave, it will start directly by saying, I believe that this topic has various interpretations, which could be as under, and then da 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 da. So in this case, in case of the K topic, you will have probably one-liner explanations or justifications, right? So give me quantity, two interpretations, two interpretations. That would be okay. For the K thing, clear? But what if it is talking about Frank Lloyd Wright, my next one? What is it talking about in essence? To always be a better version of yourself, which is also saying the same thing as don't be complacent, don't rest on your laurels, right? Broadly the same thing. So in that case, the theme is the same. In that Frank Lloyd Wright example, my next one means the quest for success and excellence, right? Always looking ahead, never behind, and resting on one's laurels, etc. So you write about that throughout the VAT. Because there's only one theme. It can't be interpreted in 5 different ways. Broadly the same thing. Chase for excellence, don't look back, always look forward, don't rest on your laurels, don't be complacent. These two are the same thing. These two are the same thing. So same theme, which will be repeated several times. Clear? I hope screenshots are being taken. Right? So this becomes your VAT. Now, finally, unfortunately, that slide isn't there on my PPT. The pictorial VAT. The pictorial VAT, as the name suggests, will have one photograph or two. If it has one photograph, you just have to give your interpretation of the photograph. The same logic follows typically something like this. It's not too abstract, like there is some tiger with the head of an elephant and the tail of a snake or something like that. It's not like it's abstract or some random three-dimensional figure. Go tell me what this looks like. Nothing of that sort. There will be some fairly clear-cut image, but you have to try and connect it to something current where possible, or merely give explanation of that image. However, if there are two images, you can't have two paragraphs saying this is what image 1 represents, this is what image 2 represents. You need to link the two. Clear? Pictorial VAT. For example, pictorial VAT, on top of the page or on top of the web page, you have a photo of this bottle, right? And you have a guy working on his or her working on his laptop. Think of some way to connect this bottle and a guy working on his laptop. Off the top of my head, what can I think of? We don't drink enough water due to the pressure of work, and we need to stay hydrated. So probably the rest of the VAT can go on to talk about the benefits of water. It's just something I thought of. Someone here seems to have the same idea, right? Again, this need not be something that has to be connected to pandemic related, economy related, and all. Need not be. Can you try and connect it to some semblance of an idea? Concept clear, right? What I mean by pictorial VAT, two different images, bottle and guy working on laptop, PC, whatever. Right? Simple enough. So this is broadly your VAT part. Now, as always, I have run out of time and I have hopelessly forgotten to check my watch, which is why now I'll just take a quick set of questions. If there are any doubts, keep posting in the Q&A tab. Hopefully everything has been answered. Duration, see, again, I'm not here to answer questions regarding ACT or SLAT. I'm here to just answer questions regarding the VAT. Okay, so those who have any questions can post in the Q&A tab. As for the rest of you, thank you so much for sticking around and surviving what was once thought of as a 1-hour lecture that ran on to a little bit longer. I'm going to take questions at this point. If there are any questions, you can go ahead and post in the comments below, or you can write in the Q&A tab. I would like your feedback. So if you felt the session was useful in any way, please write in the chat box what you felt, any comments that you would like to add, and I will try and work on those if there are any things that are that require improvement. Right? Apart from technical issues which were not in my control, if there's any feedback that you would like to share, please go ahead and do so. Right? Let me just quickly take questions for the rest of us. If you're leaving before that, all the best. Right? Mike is seen and okay. How was VAT taken last year? Okay, so someone here has a question. How was VAT taken last year? Last year, the VAT was taken online. It was given as what is called as a proctored VAT. So there was some observer and they said you are supposed to write it. We'll be watching you, something like that. So you have to keep your webcam on. Okay, so as of now, our understanding is that the VAT will happen separately once you're shortlisted. If they have changed the rules, this is something that we will find out in due course. We'll figure it out. We'll let you know on your groups if they've changed the sequence of the VAT. Okay, this typically happens after the results are out, and only the shortlisted students have to write the VAT. This is as of last year's understanding. If there is any change, we will let you. All right. So typically the entire rest of the selection process, which is the group discussion, if at all, VAT, PI, all of it happens on the same day, or since it is from home, it might happen in a staggered manner. So maybe one day VAT, second day PI, something like that. Okay. So that takes care of a lot of questions. Someone has a question here. If you have certain information about the topic and would like to organize in points, no, never write in points, always write in paragraphs. Never write in points, which is why I've given you some ways of writing it in points, right? Firstly, secondly, etc. Okay. Abstract essays should preferably not be anecdotal, preferably because the topics that we have are broadly going to cover everything. I mean, there are enough general examples to quote. So make sure to not write not write it in terms of anecdotes, because it's like an individualistic justification. So just because you say, no, I have experienced it. So then how do I as an evaluator rate it, right? So that becomes a bit difficult. So make sure to not write anecdotes as much as possible, right? How not to digress from your main point of view. Prajwal, to be very honest, you don't really have time to digress, which is why we ask you to organize your thoughts in the first 2-3 minutes and then just write your VAT at one go. You will have just about enough time to summarize and close out your VAT. Okay. People, those who have questions, please post in the Q&A tab. Q&A tab. I see a lot of questions in the chat window. Please don't do that. Just post all of them in the Q&A tab. Time is typically half an hour for the VAT. Right? Topics. Topics I forgot. Sorry. Where is share screen? There are two screenshots I need you to take. This is one. Hold on. Let me try and improve the readability of this. Yes. So this is one. Wait. Right. This is one. Take a quick screenshot, guys and girls, of course. Quickly. And then 2020, what was asked? Right. I will leave this on the screen, and meanwhile, I will take the rest of the question. Topics are done. Tejasvi, unfortunately, AI80 has broadly, I mean, I don't really want to comment on AI80. Let me just figure out how AI80 is different, and I'll have to get back to you on that. Give me some time, probably a day or two. I'll come back to you on AI80. VAT, you will have only one topic. There's no choice. There is no choice. Of course, so Nachiket, when you have an opinion, you can't write, he thinks that Kohli is the best cricketer or best batsman. That would be silly, right? So always write it in first person. Topics for practice, we've just shared it. Weightage, we need to check what are the rules this time around. We'll post it on your Telegram groups or whatever when we find the data, right? Once we get it, we'll put that. What if student is taking both SLAT and SET? They have typically different VATs. Don't worry. So your VAT for SLAT will be slightly tending towards the legal angle, slightly, because for obvious reasons. Okay. So if they're saying that it will be conducted after SLAT, then fine, it will be on the same day. We just need some clarity because every 2 days they keep changing their minds about this. So I don't really want to pinpoint and say, okay, this is exactly what will happen as of today. Okay, or rather we'll put it as of today, they are saying it is going to be on the same date, but we'll just have to wait and watch. In case instructions change, we'll let you know. Okay. Sample VAT, Tanisha, I'll try and post that on your Telegram groups if possible. For now, let's just take these topics and start writing. Right. So that takes care of that. PPT, I don't think I can share that. This is a bit of insider info. If anyone has attended the session, please make sure to ask them on the group if anyone has taken screenshots, so they can just share the screenshots on the group. So Tisha, till last year there was a pictorial VAT, but they keep changing it from time to time. We're not really sure what is going to happen this time around, which is why I've given you 2020 topics as well. They seem to be argumentative, abstract. So can I say that this time for sure pictorial VATs will not come? We'll just have to wait and watch. My job is to prepare you for every scenario. Okay, guys, questions in the chat box or Q&A tab, as the name suggests, Q&A tab. Please don't post any questions in the chat box. There'll be only one VAT, sample VAT I will share on the group. AI80 of Symbiosis VAT will be along with the exam. See, from what we have been told, from what it looks like, the VAT will be post the exam. But if they change the instructions in the last minute or 2 days from today, we will let you know. Can you lose a seat if your essay goes badly? No. See, understand that a VAT is a component of the selection procedure. Meaning your written, your PI, your VAT, all of them will be taken into consideration. Okay, so make sure to do well, at least in the other two. And I don't believe that your VAT is going to go this poorly, considering that, you know, all of the gyan that we have talked about, right? So that's why the session is there for you. Don't worry. Practice. VAT topics already shared. So legal driven questions, as I've already mentioned. Examples I'll try and share on the group where possible. We should write it as an essay, yes, not in point-wise format. Topics given, topics given, topics given. No, all your colleges don't have separate VATs. You will have one VAT for SET general and one VAT for SLAT. That's it. So Isha, let me just check what is the concept of this AIAT and all that. I'll get back to you on the groups. Don't worry. No standard number of paragraphs, but like I said, you need to, the reason I've given at least those many paragraphs is for you to demarcate your essay nicely so that it looks organized. Okay. So Prajwal, let's wait and watch. Apparently what seems to be the deal is that SET general will be followed by one VAT. So probably they'll use that VAT as common for all SIMB, meaning SIMB BBA colleges and SIMC and SID and all of that together. So we'll just have to wait and watch. What is a good score for SLAT? We are not doing a SLAT session beta for now. Just hold on to that question. We'll do that once we get to how to crack SLAT and SET. We'll answer that question over there. So losing a seat, I think already answered. Topics for SLAT and SET will be typically different. Again, shared. See, again, anonymous person, if you have an opinion in an opinion driven way, it need not be for the topic, it need not be against the topic. Just pick one that you can justify. It need not be critical just because you want to criticize. Okay, it has to appear well thought out. It shouldn't feel like you are putting your biases or your opinions, your strong feelings. You have to look at it from the point of view of a neutral observer and just tell me the opinion, what the data suggests, okay, or what the examples suggest. Don't make it sound like you have a personal vendetta against the topic. Okay. SLAT as of now appears to be a home proctored test. Again, we will have to wait for instructions if they decide randomly, because things are getting unlocked. If they decide randomly that no, we are going to conduct it in centers, we won't know that till they clarify. So let's wait and watch. So I guess, Sanika, that question has been answered. Could I lose a seat? No, not necessarily. You could, provided the other criteria also have not been met. You score poorly in SET SLAT, you score poorly in your PI, this, that, everything goes for a toss, then of course there's no point. Okay. So yes, Ankita, in this case, you would need to have a decision like health or wealth, definitely. And it's an easy answer to pick. Either way, you can justify either one. Okay. AIAT, again, let me see what can be done. Does AIAT require a session, or we can just send a document for AIAT? We'll let you know on the groups. Don't worry. So to check your VATs, we will let you know. I will discuss with the team and find out what is the optimum way to ensure that everyone gets his or her VAT checked. So we'll post all of that on the GSM. Don't worry. 2020 list ends at library. 2020 ends at the library list. Only one topic. Yes, only one topic. Of course, one for SLAT, one for SET. So if you're writing both, then two topics. Black or gray? Pick a side, Devanshi. It seems to be more of an abstract essay, right? So there's no right or wrong in this, but you have to pick a side. Now this is like a combination of abstract and argumentative. Okay. So Tanisha, again, as we have already answered, we will figure out a procedure to ensure that everyone gets his or her VAT checked. Give me a day or two. Let me discuss with the team, and I'll get back to you, all of you, on the group. Okay. PI sessions, of course, are lined up. We'll do all of them soon. Don't worry. All right. Lose a seat. I think I've answered that question. All right. I think I've answered that question. Cool. Pattern of the exam, 3-year LLB. So SET, SLAT, etc. The discussion is not, today's discussion rather is not for the paper pattern of those exams and all that. We will do a separate session on those in a couple of days. AIAT is coming up. Wait. Sample VAT, I will try and see if I can share it on the group. Relax. Right, but then a couple of people got the, see, there are different centers, right? There are different centers, different time slots and all that, which is why we've got plenty of topics. And this was asked as part of the selection process later, not on the day of the exam. Weightage for VAT, I would say probably 20-ish percentage, but we'll have to be sure. I'll get that info and post on the group. 3-year LLB later. No, so Anjali, broadly, the concept of a VAT remains the same. How to organize your thoughts, be clear in providing reasons, etc. But for AIT, if there is anything different, I will just need to check and I'll get back to you on a session on AIT. Don't worry. Man versus nature. What do you want me to do, Parth? Man versus nature. I'm not sure what is the question. Right, anonymous person, 3-year LLB. This is unfortunately not the session for that. We will have a session on 3-year LLB later on. How to crack 3-year LLB later on. Okay, give me a couple of days. So again, as I've already mentioned, opinion, you are not supposed to say both sides and then give your preference. You are supposed to state your preference at the very beginning and talk only about that preference. With reasons, of course. Session recording, Siddhi, no guarantees. If we find, or rather if the recording I can find, I'll share it to you. Or maybe since it's live on Google, you would be able to find it on Google. How many words? So I've told you 350 to 450 words is enough for a VAT. No, so Ankita, if you have a question that requires a source, then you have to be as clear with the source as possible. Okay, I'll repeat, you have to be as clear with the source as possible. You can't write a leading news daily in somewhere in 2021. That is not how you're supposed to mention a source if you are quoting from a report. Okay, if you are mentioning a source, be as precise as possible. Something is different for SLAT-Written. Yes, there will be some legal tinge to the topic, maybe something around the lines of the Tarun Tejpal case or something like that might come up because that's the nearest legal happening around us. Maybe something related to legal angles where you have to try and put some sort of legal context to it. If it's an abstract, then fine, it's just an abstract. Don't force a legal angle onto it. Okay. No, so if you look at the topic man versus nature, it's abstract. It's not that you have to pick a side. You just have to talk about, in that case, broadly how, wait, come to think of it, wouldn't it still be an argumentative act? How man has been exploiting nature? Probably it looks to be that way, right? That's why, see, again, this is just for you guys. You write what you feel, then someone will evaluate and say, okay, boss, this is how you should write and shouldn't. If I give you all the answers of how to write a VAT in all these topics, then that wouldn't help. Write it by yourself, send it to your faculty, they will tell you what. Okay, don't make me give you the answers, but right? So see, understand, Shivangi, when I say legal context, I am not saying that you have to say that no, this is wrong legally or this is wrong as per some sections that we have studied and all that. You're not supposed, right or wrong is not what you're supposed to do from a legal point of view. Meaning that you can put a case that, okay, boss, now that we have seen this verdict, these are the things I believe should be added to the law, or these are the things that should be taken care of, or how the current laws are inadequate to cover blah blah blah, something like that. Getting it? If I specifically pick the Tarun Tejpal case, Clear? All right, fine. So I guess all questions have been answered. If there are any questions, we'll tackle them on the GSL or the UG groups. We'll figure out how to give you these topics. That is going to happen soon. All right. Until next time. Okay, thanks. Bye. All the best. Oh, wait, there is a question. All right. Fine. Sure. All the best.